Well, Walter Brueggemann is perhaps the leading Old Testament scholar of our time.
Well-known biblical scholar and author Walter Brueggemann will hold free public talks in the Marquette, Michigan area during early October on, quote, the connection of the Bible and the environmental crisis. Breuggemann said Upper Peninsula issues like a proposed sulfide mine will be discussed. Dr. Breuggemann said my presentation will consider the way in which the Bible empowers and calls us to care about our environment. The connection of the Bible and the environmental crisis is an invitation to a new, responsible sanity after too much economic insanity. Dr. Breuggemann will speak and lead workshops in the Marquette, Michigan area on October 8th and 9th, 2007. All of Breuggemann's appearances will be followed by a chance for public questions and comments. Breuggemann said he will touch on Upper Peninsula environmental issues like the proposed sulfide mine in Marquette County. Dr. Breuggemann said, quote, among those issues are mining that wrecks the land, deforestation, and all the temptations to exploit our God-given resources.
What makes him unique is his ability to connect with audiences of all kinds, because he has this ability to connect Old Testament themes, biblical themes, with current-day economic issues, political issues, and religious issues. So he's somebody who anyone, whether you have a wide biblical background or a limited biblical background, you're going to gain insights from him that he is uniquely able to provide.
Breuggemann said, my work will be to show the biblical texts that matter. Those texts draw very close to immediate issues of abuse. Reverend Warren Geyer, pastor of the Bethany Lutheran Church in Ishpeming, Michigan, said Breuggemann has the unique ability to speak to general audiences and to bring out the truth of biblical texts. Reverend Geyer said, quote, for people of faith, there is a theological component to environmental issues, and Dr. Breuggemann will help all of us to understand that.
I think the perspective that he'll be able to add that I don't think we've heard much about in the whole sulfide mining issue is that there is a theological component to this. We mostly hear about it as care of the environment versus the economy. But I think there is, for people of faith, there is a theological component to this which will shed insight that can help a better decision be made relative to whether this mine should go through or not. He is perhaps the leading Old Testament scholar, biblical scholar of our time. He's one of the most widely published, widely read.
Breuggemann will hold a free public lecture at 7 p.m. on Monday, October 8th at the University Center at Northern Michigan University. The lecture is entitled Theology of Creation and the Environmental Crisis. The next day, Tuesday, October 9th, a preaching workshop for clergy and lay church workers will be led by Dr. Breuggemann. It'll be held from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Messiah Lutheran Church in Marquette. The cost of the workshop is $20 with lunch included, and a reservation is required. The discussion will focus on biblical preaching in the shadow of the empire. And that evening, Dr. Breuggemann will hold another free public talk. Breuggemann will speak at 7 p.m. on October 9th at Bethany Lutheran Church in Ishpeming. It's entitled Journey to the Common Good, Reading the Bible Towards God's Future, and will address issues concerning how to interpret the Scripture. Dr. Breuggemann is a prolific author. A world-renowned Old Testament scholar and author, Dr. Breuggemann connects Old Testament scholarships to contemporary issues. He has authored more than 58 books, hundreds of articles, and several commentaries on books of the Bible.
He's it. I mean, in my estimation, he is the #1 Old Testament scholar. I suppose you could have a discussion about that like you can about most things of that nature. But in terms of how widely published and widely read he is, his thinking informs the thinking of just about all the people in that field. So he is at the top of the heap in terms of Old Testament scholarship in our time.
Reverend Geyer says Breuggemann sees the Bible as a work of poetic imagination, which offers an alternative to what have become the accepted ways of our world.
It's extremely highly respected in the academic world, but also accessible to general audiences as he tries to make connections between theological issues and everyday issues that we all have to deal with relative to our own personal lives.
Breuggemann participated in Bill Moyer's acclaimed PBS television series on the Book of Genesis.
Well, he's coming, the way that we're able to bring him to Marquette is through grant money from the Earth Keepers, and so the event is being sponsored by Earth Keepers, by Lutheran Campus Ministry at Northern Michigan University, and by the Departments of Philosophy and Departments of English at NMU. And the other sponsor is Bethany Lutheran Church, which is the church of which I am the pastor in Ishpeming. So it's kind of a joint effort between all of us to bring a real high-quality speaker to our area.
A graduate of Elmhurst College, Professor Breuggemann studied at Eden Theological Seminary, receiving his Doctorate of Divinity from Union Theological Seminary in New York, and a Ph.D. from St. Louis University. Breuggemann was Professor of Old Testament at Eden before joining the faculty at Columbia Theological Seminary in 1986. Dr. Breuggemann is currently William Marcellus McFeeters Professor Emeritus of Old Testament at Columbia.
Well, I think he's got an understanding that theology affects us all. Again, if you're a person of faith and you think about God, theology really should inform all of your decisions. And he just has this ability to take the academic world and bring it and make it accessible to regular people, for lack of a better way to put it, and help them to understand theologically the kind of things that are connected with political issues and economic issues and things of that nature.
For more information on Breuggemann's visit or to register for the workshop, contact Pastor Warren Geyer at Bethany Lutheran Church in Ishpeming, Michigan. You can call 906-486-4351. That's 906-486-4351, or email revwgeier@charterinternet.com. That's Rev W. Geyer at charterinternet.com. I'm Greg Peterson saying don't miss Dr. Walter Brueggemann's visit to Northern Michigan.